Well, hello friends, it's BG back again with another little video. This is a final on this little dude here. This is actually an Oshima kit, or Aoshima, however we want to pronounce that. But it's the Rasty S13 Silvia, and this one is done up in a little bit of a kind of a whimsical sort of paint scheme I decided to come up with. I wanted to recreate the fighter plane from World War II, the Japanese Zero, the classic markings that we would have seen that thing in. And yeah, this was quite the challenge because, first of all, it started off as a rebuilder kit that was gifted to me by an old friend of mine just before I moved out of town back to Ohio. And James was like, this really didn't go to plan. I'm not kind of happy with it. The decals didn't look so great. So here you go. See what you can do with it. So it sat in the closet of shame for a little while until I finally came up with an idea on how to handle this, and it was a bit of a challenge because it had, I think it was splash paints on there, Panther Pink, and then it also had the 2K Clear on there too, and that stuff's almost bulletproof. So faced with quite the challenge of trying to strip that off, and we had a friend, our good friend Tim Baumgart, who has now moved to Delaware, but he had he called it the dip. He had some sort of proprietary concoction of a bunch of different types of fluids and stuff that he would dunk a car body into and then put it into a ultrasonic parts cleaner and would just agitate the stuff right off the car. And it took him like 25 rounds in order to get this car stripped back down to bare plastic. And he still had to go at it with a toothbrush and a little bit of elbow grease here and there. So we'll see if we can't add in a couple of photos towards the end here. But it was pretty much a difficult type of recovery from the originally how the car came to us. Honestly, when James gifted me the kit, I had thought about, you know what, I'll just finish off the paint job on this thing and make it my own, and then off we go. But then once we got the car stripped down, we're like, you know what, this thing, because it was like, all kind of beat up and stuff like that from the stripping process and everything. And I thought we can take this back no problem to being a nice glossy paint job and all that. But it looks really cool as it is, and then it kind of, I don't know, thunderstruck or whatever. But I probably was channeling old Tom with the one he had done years and years ago. But I was like, man, this thing would look cool done up as an actual car painted to look like a Japanese Zero. So we went ahead and just masked it all off, painted it all with Tamiya jar paints, did a little bit of chipping fluid here and there so we can get some of the beat up stuff on there. And yeah, we know like the fender flares and all that stuff is going to be like some sort of plastic or whatever, fiberglass. But because this was supposed to look like a Japanese Zero, we did do metallic chipping on it and all that in order to give it the flavor. The rising sun on the side there, we did that. We just masked that off and painted that. We were following some suggestions from one of my favorite channels, Ben Builds. When he does his aircraft stuff, he'll a lot of times paint on the markings and such. So we took sort of a page out of his book and gave that a try, and really like how it turned out. Matter of fact, it looks a little bit dark down here. That's not a trick of the light. We actually did a white circle and then came back and painted on the red, the flat red. And then we came back with a little bit of black added to the red paint and just a little bit of shading up in here and then down here to give it more of a hemispherical type of look. I really like how that looks. I like the effect that it gave. And then some planes we've seen had some white striping on the fuselage, so I thought we would recreate that there. Really like how it came out. Masking was a bit of a trick though, because all these side pods and stuff were already glued in place. So we kind of had to work around that. But all in all, it was a lot of fun. And we left these decals on here because that, like the Hatsune Miku, I think it was, that was the decal set that was on there. Had a couple of extra decals left. So we left those on there in honor of our good friend James Tester, but around back here also. But I really like how it came out. I had a lot of fun kind of coming up with the concept for this and then building the kit. Love those wheels and tires on there. That's a great looking deal. And I was really hesitant about putting the wing on the back. I didn't do any distressing to the wing at all. I just went ahead and painted that flat black and stuck it on there. I thought, looks good. If it falls off, it falls off. But the deal is that we're doing this before we leave town because we're going to be gifting this to a good friend of ours while we're out of town. We're going to be delivering this to him. He doesn't know he's getting this, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, it goes well. But I think he might like it. I think he might like it. But yeah, we also, it's really hard to tell, but we did do the interior as if it was the cockpit out of a Japanese Zero. So we have a lot of metallic paint in there to make it look like it's the aluminum cockpit, and then of course the seats look like they're metal because we painted them to look like the aluminum that they would have had for the actual seats inside the cockpit and everything. That all masked off and painted up really, really well. And then we did a little bit of chipping and stuff on the dashboard to give it just a little extra bit of oomph for the to give it the idea that it's a metallic interior. So, which you would never find in a car today, but as a what if, it's definitely a fun thing to do. So there we have it. We got this guy from a friend, and we're going to be delivering him to another friend. And a very storied little piece of styrene right here. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in and checking this one out. Appreciate that very, very much. This isn't something I usually do, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and something we had kind of going on in the wings over the last few months. So there you go. This is a curbside kit. There is no engine detail. However, the hood is molded separately, so you could throw something in there if you wanted to, but you'd have to scratch build the entire engine bay probably, unless you can find an aftermarket engine bay you can stick in there. But didn't want to go down that route. Seemed like it was a little bit too much for where we wanted to go with this. It's all about the paint job on this one. All right, y'all. Take it easy. I'll talk to you in the next one, and we'll see you when we get back. Bye now. Oh, I should have put some guns on it. Dang it.